So doomsday has happened. And when I say doomsday, I mean Kevin Durant has requested a trade out of Brooklyn. Now you're thinking to yourself, damn, wait, he just went 3 years ago. And you would be right. 2-3 years ago. You know what this whole situation, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn, hell, you can even throw in James Harden and Ben Simmons. This Brooklyn situation now is a prime example of a litany. Ooh, I'm using big words. Prime, litany. Is a prime example of a litany of poor decisions. You see, that's all this is. All of this Kevin Durant requesting a trade, Brooklyn, all this is poor decisions. El Poro decisions. I'm sure that's not how you say poor decisions in Spanish, but I'm going to roll with it. El Poro decisions. You see poor decisions throughout this whole situation. And as a basketball fan, as a sports fan in general, the writing was there. You see, one thing that this situation also shows is talent supersedes all. Now, usually when you hear talent supersedes all, that's usually talking about someone that has off the field or off the court issues. We'll talk about Miles Bridges in a second, but someone that has off the field or off the court issues. And usually when you say talent supersedes all, that means they're going to get another opportunity because they're just talented, not saying, you know, it's never really in the context of what we're talking about here with Brooklyn. When I say talent supersedes all in this Brooklyn situation, we should have seen this coming. We should have seen this coming from day one because the poor decisions started rolling in day one. Let's talk about it. There are 3 parts to talk about. There's the Kevin Durant part, there's the Kyrie Irving part, and there's the Brooklyn Nets part. Let's start with the most obvious one, which is Kevin Durant. The poor decision, in my opinion, started when you left Golden State for Brooklyn. Now, I'm not saying it's a poor decision because you're not. I am all for player empowerment. I'm all for players doing what they want to do. So when I say poor decision, if you wanted to go play in Brooklyn, go right ahead. You did, clearly. But you look at that organization. It's very rare. If you look throughout the NBA, just today, it's very rare for an organization to have everything buttoned up or constantly make the right decisions. Now, it's easy to say that Golden State is that organization clearly now, seeing as though they're coming off winning a championship. But you can even look in the 2 years that they did make the 2 years that they didn't make the playoff after Kevin Durant left. It really wasn't because they weren't talented as much as you had Klay Thompson was hurt. Steph Curry got hurt. And of course, you needed to figure out, sometimes it takes teams time, especially teams at the top, which is why Golden State is still considered a dynasty, even though they didn't make the playoffs those 2 years. Sometimes it takes time to get it right. You get D'Angelo Russell, you trade D'Angelo Russell because you realize, D'Angelo Russell's not going to work with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. You trade him, get Andrew Wiggins, a lesser version of Kevin Durant, but a better version of Harrison Barnes. You get some draft picks. You get Kuminga. You get Wiseman. It's very hard. It's very rare. Look at the league. It's very rare to see an organization have it buttoned up. So when you're in an organization or you see an organization that is buttoned up and you are part of said organization, it wouldn't, in my opinion, it wouldn't be the smartest to leave said organization to go to an organization that hasn't proven to have it buttoned up. In fact, if you look at the history of Brooklyn, they have a litany of poor decisions, starting pretty much with trading their entire future pretty much to Boston for Paul Pierce, or an old Paul Pierce, an old Kevin Garnett. I believe Deron Williams was in that trade, and maybe Jared Wallace too. Gerald Wallace. So you're going from an organization in Golden State that has it all buttoned up. You have one of the top players in the league in Steph Curry. You have one of the best defensive players in the league in Draymond Green. You have one of the best plug-and-play players with Klay Thompson. Now, I understand, it's being the man. I get that. And I get wanting a new challenge. So I'm not here saying he made a dumb decision. I'm never going to disrespect someone saying you made a dumb decision. But you have to ask yourself, we'll talk about Bradley Beal a little bit later, but you have to ask yourself, what is the most important? Is winning a championship or winning multiple championships more important? Is money more important? Is happiness more important? You have to figure out what's more important. And it seems like for Kevin Durant, finding something new, playing with your best friend at the time, or playing with your friend, playing with your friend Kyrie Irving, that was more important than staying in an organization that you could build with. And, you just got 2 championships, you could have got more. So in my opinion, that's poor decision number 1. No, it's not. That's not a poor decision, because you did what you were supposed to do in Golden State. You did what you were supposed to do. You went there. You got 2 championships. You got 2 Finals MVP. The first poor decision, in my opinion, it wasn't leaving Golden State, as much as at this point in the story, you're tied to Stephen Curry. You're tied to Stephen Curry. You, Steph Curry, are clearly the faces are clearly the 2 best players in Golden State. You leave him to attach yourself to Kyrie Irving. That is mistake number 1. Now, don't get me wrong. We know that Kyrie Irving is an immensely talented player. We know Kyrie Irving, in my opinion, will go down as the greatest handler of the basketball we've ever seen. We know this. We know he is a great under the rim finisher. We know his shooting ability. We know all that. But we also know the history of Kyrie Irving, as far as asking, I think, the only player in NBA history to demand a trade away from LeBron James. Then we know about the debacle that happened with Boston. And then, of course, we know now with Brooklyn, some of the decisions that he was making with Brooklyn. But that's mistake number 1 for Kevin Durant, in my opinion. It's not the fact of leaving Golden State. It's the fact of separating yourself from Steph Curry, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest players we've ever seen. Most people's opinion, one of the greatest players we've ever seen, and actually one of the best teammates you've ever seen. We've heard nothing but great stories when we talk about Steph Curry as a teammate. Hell, you can even see Steph Curry, who is, again, go down. A lot of people argue right now, is he top 10, top 5, whatever, in all time. He took I'm not going to say lesser, but he took the reins of the team and said, you know what, I understand who the best player is. Let me minimize some of my game to elevate some of KD's, and of course it got them 2 championships. Would have been 3 if everyone stayed healthy. That 2019. But you separate yourself from Steph, who is a sure thing, one of the best teammates, at least on record, that we've seen. And then you go to Kyrie Irving, who has a history of not being the easiest person to be teammates with. Now, understand, again, the talent. Now, understand he's your friend. But there's a reason why they say sometimes the worst person to roommate with is your friend. Now, I'm not saying roommate, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving live together. But you can kind of use that analogy for playing basketball together. Sometimes some of my best friends are god-awful at basketball. I would never pick them up. That's how competitive I am. Some of my best friends are terrible at basketball. Terrible. Devereaux is god awful at basketball. Cass is god awful at basketball. Never picked them a day in my life. But they're still my friends. But I just know that is not the lane that I want to attach myself to when we talk about my friends. Kevin Durant, even though he's supremely talented, which is Kyrie, he's may not be the best teammate.